I'm Mark Howell. I'm a member of the Select Board, and this is the June 25th. We delayed Chair's Breakfast. We're virtual only this month due to air conditioning issues at the townhouse. And I just have a couple of notes from the Select Board. The Select Board is resuming our regular schedule of meetings starting next Monday, June 30th. Our schedule for the remainder of the year is essentially every other week. So we're going to be on a 2-week cadence as we go through. Somebody's sharing their screen. So let's see if we can. Bill, could you stop sharing?
It's quite beautiful.
Yeah, nice Windows background.
I think that's the standard Mac
Yeah.
background.
Okay. Shannon, maybe you can help with that. Anyway, I'll just keep going. A couple of notes by way of organization and scheduling. The next Chair's Breakfast will be on July 16th. That will pick up our normal schedule of the third Wednesday of the month. The Select Board, I see Shannon's sharing the schedule right now, is planning to meet on June 30th and July 14th. We'll be, as I said, meeting every other week, with the exception of the week of September 22nd. We're going to meet on Tuesday because of the Rosh Hashanah holiday. So just we plan to publish our agendas the Wednesday before and the packet hopefully on that Thursday, and on the screen you can see the deadlines for agenda topics and packet submissions. So we'd appreciate any help you can give us. If you're looking to be on the agenda, please send a note, and we'll work with the scheduling. We're discussing liaison assignments at Monday's meeting. We'll probably finalize them, but there might be some additional changes. But we'll distribute the liaison assignments to the chairs, which means that if the chair of the committee that you're representing is changing, please do let Shannon know of the changes so that we can get it to the right person. Also, this is a great time of year to do a couple of housekeeping things, like check the town's webpage for your committee. Make sure that the membership represents your current membership. If there are any vacancies, you can contact the town clerk for volunteer cards and let the liaison for your committee know that. We'll have a little bit more discussion about appointments and the process for appointments over the next couple of meetings. The Select Board is working on updating APP 10, which is the appointment policy. And we're thinking that we may differentiate a little bit more clearly between town manager appointments, town manager appointed committees, and Select Board appointed committees, because there are some differences, and even beyond that, there are some unique things. One proposal that we're discussing, and I think we'd like some feedback on, is generally it's how to get more participation and how to ensure that committees have full enrollments. And there's a couple of ideas that we discussed the last time we looked at APP 10. One, they revolve around whether the 2-term limit versus 3 terms might help with some continuity issues. Also, looking a little bit more carefully at the enforcement of the everybody only serves on one committee unless they're assigned by that committee to take a seat on another committee. So that we recognize that there's some tension between those things, but anything we can do to expand the volunteer pool is useful. Also, by way of housekeeping in this time of transition, and I recognize that this year, because of the late town meeting schedule, the transition has been a little bit delayed into the summer. But this is a great time to check to make sure that committee minutes, in particular from the last fiscal year, have been posted at the town clerks. Remember, the process is that once they're reviewed and approved by the committee, the clerk of the meeting or the chair needs to send those to the town clerk's office for posting on the webpage. So we've had some issues with that recently. We've also noticed in doing some reviews of the posting that if you have to reschedule or cancel a meeting, sometimes the agenda for the previous schedule or canceled meeting will sit out there, and that will usually not have minutes associated with it. And so a note to the town clerk again can get that cleaned up, or a quick posting that basically says the meeting was canceled or rescheduled can help with the completeness of those records and make it a lot easier later to understand what happened. We are actively interested in what vacancies may exist on committees and in working on the recruiting for that. So if you have vacancies, please do be in contact with the liaison, either the current liaison that you've been working with or the new liaison as you see fit. So those are the things that I had right now. So why don't we begin by going around the room. I'll just call on you in the order that you appear on my screen. Hopefully you won't move around too much. So why don't we start with Julie, being that she was first here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Julie McClure, and I'm the chair or president, depending on how you qualify it, of Concord Housing Development Corporation. If you're not already familiar with the work that we do, our task is to create and preserve affordable housing in Concord. We have about a 20-year history. We were established in 2006. And we have been working on a number of things these past few months that you may have heard of from some of my colleagues. We are very pleased to report that Habitat for Humanity has begun to prepare the land at the site at Old Marlborough Road near the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. So if you're visiting that part of West Concord, you'll be able to see some changes happening there. The legal negotiations, a complex four-party agreement carried out over months, has been finalized and recorded at the Registry of Deeds. There will be 5 affordable homes at this site near the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. And a feel-good update, there will be community opportunities to volunteer with Habitat for Humanity. So stay tuned for the call out to volunteers. Students from the local Minuteman Technical High School will also participate in this project. We have recently approved small grants for repairs for households facing financial hardship. Recent repairs include roof repair, chimney flashing, and hot water heater replacement. The Small Grants Program is some of the most important work we do for the community, as it helps people to stay in their current homes who may face displacement during financial hardship. We also have an update on a situation with ARPA funding and a site at 91B Main Street. You may have heard that there's a potential for developing that site. Now that is in question. $500,000 of ARPA funds, US dollars, are kind of in question. So there's been a sort of proposal to look at different ideas for how that money might be used. Right now, CHDC has about $280,000 available for a buy down program. So one possibility we have is to use the $500,000 to augment the buy down program. And given that the current median sales price for a single family property in Concord is $1.58 million, and the current median sales price for a condo is 950,000 US dollars. We might target something that is a more moderate price point, like 600,000 or less. That's one possibility to purchase an existing unit around that amount and then sell it for a lottery to an affordable housing candidate. Another possibility that we are discussing is to purchase a property currently on the subsidized housing inventory. As you might know, we have a number of properties that have timeouts, which means that someone previously purchased it and they may be able to qualify to sell it at market rate in the near future. So to ensure that that property stays in the subsidized housing inventory, maybe we would use that money to buy an existing SHI property and keep that property within our SHI inventory, which is an important part of how we stay in compliance with the state. We're also actively recruiting new members. If you know folks who care about affordable housing, send them my way. I want to have coffee with them. And I want to tell them about all the good work we're doing. And we really want Concordians to keep showing up and contributing to affordable housing in Concord. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Julie. Appreciate it. Peter. By the way, while Peter's unmuting, well, if somebody has a time crunch and needs to go, just raise your hand and I'll call on you more quickly.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Peter Lowett from the MCI Advisory Board. I'm pinch hitting for our chairs who are doing summary things, I wish. We're very excited because next Monday we're getting the draft vision report from our consultants, and we'll begin reviewing that once we receive it. And the chairs will be making a report to the select board shortly thereafter. And once we've had a chance to digest the advisory report, the visioning report, we'll be bringing that back out to the community. So we've got a list of 95 community groups, and I'm sure all of your committees are involved or have had some sort of opportunity to weigh in on the MCI reuse plan. We'll be coming back out to you and asking for your thoughts on the final report. So looking forward to being in touch with you over the summer and into the fall. So I think that's about it.
Thanks, Peter. I'm going to call on Randy Kring for the Board of Health.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm covering for our new chair, Jim Whalen, who was not available for the meeting today. The Board of Health has been active with pool and camp inspections, 24 pool permits. Boy, that was a mouthful. 24 pool permits for the year so far, and 19 recreational camps in Concord permitted, which is about 4 times as many as in surrounding towns. So the health department's been very busy with that. Been very happy with White Pond water purification. There's new A-pods that the town purchased to maintain the water quality there, and that's been going well this year. And then also kind of recent update is there's a new substance abuse coordinator hired by the town using opiate settlement money. That's been a new addition to the health department that's been very, we're excited about. Otherwise, those are kind of the big updates, and we're looking forward to the coming year.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Paul.
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Then we'll go to Sula Chance for West Concord Cultural District.
Thank you. My first meeting, brand new chair to the committee. It's nice to meet all of you virtually. We are just, in fact, doing our, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be reporting, Mark, so I'm just taking the lead from other folks, but we just finished up an analysis of our Spring into West Concord days where we had the flamingo flocking, which hopefully all of you read about. It was really fun. It was great for the businesses. and are about to reinstall the sidewalk decals, which were really popular, but the first installation, but unfortunately they were made with the wrong material and we had to rip them all up. So now we're going to be putting them back down onto the sidewalks and hopefully creating art and joy for folks walking down our streets. And looking at installing some sculpture potentially in one of our little pocket parks. And that's pretty much it. Otherwise, we take the summer off, so we don't have anything going on currently. Just wrapped up Porch Fest, which was a big success despite the not so perfect weather. And participated in the solstice celebrations, and we keep moving the lantern around, the replica of Paul Revere's lantern for different cultural events. So lots of energy still, even though we're not currently meeting.
Yeah. Porch Fest was great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Tui.
Well, and I'd love to follow Sue because I'm with Tui Rogers Concord Cultural Council in downtown, and we have a lot to learn from the West Concord from what you've been doing, Sue.
Good. Let's
So
meet, Tui.
watch this space. Yeah. We distributed, we have two parts now. We distribute about $9,000 or $10,000 given by the MCC, and thank you, Select Board, 2,000 from the town. In very small grants for artists and players to present their art. And we had a gathering this year, about 30, 35 people. And, we give little amounts of money, but they were really appreciative. It was a fun gathering. Mary Hartman came to that. But the other part of our charge is brand new, and that is the Downtown Concord Center Cultural District. Which is why I look to Sue, and we're brand new at it. We've had our first round. We've got one switch box that we'll be painting. Watch in front of Starbucks and see what happens there. There's another, but that'll take longer. We hope to get that done next year. And we are participating, helping fund Mimi Graney's Economic Development Third Thursdays, which the first one was last Thursday. They'll go through third Thursdays of every month through December. So try to get there where we keep, where many stores will stay open until 8. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Lori Austin, Shannon McAndrew, Donna Mack, and all the people in the town clerks and town manager's office who keep us all going. All right, that's it. And the select board.
Thank you, Tui. Really, really appreciate it. It's great to see that. It's really good to see the collaboration, I think, across committees. And the select board, of course, is interested in any opportunities that we can have to see groups working together. So Lois, if you're ready, let's hear from the Finance Committee.
Hi, I'm Lois Wasop. I am the incoming chair of the Finance Committee as punishment for my sins, I guess. And there's not a lot to report right now because we're just getting started organizing for this year. As Mark reminded us all, it was a late town meeting. So it's giving us a later start on the transition and less time to get ready for next year's town meeting. That's one of the reasons that our schedule is a little bit in flux. We are having our first meeting tomorrow evening. The committee's now looking at our packet, which has been posted, a tentative schedule for the year, but it remains tentative until the select board makes its decisions about scheduling for town meeting, because our deadlines really foot off of the date for town meeting that's set by the select board. So other than that, we are going to be organizing ourselves tomorrow, designating our liaisons, talking about our overall projects and goals. We feel good about a lot of what we were able to do last year, and we want to build on that, working with the select board and working with the other committees that are represented here today. So I'll have more to say in a month.
Great. Thank you, Lois. Keith Bergman.
Just
just looking to unmute here in Nantucket where it's in the 70s. And the air conditioning is open. I have the windows open. I was reelected as chair of the Concord Municipal Affordable Housing Trust for another year, and look forward to our continuing work. The subsidized housing inventory still stands at 13.34% as it did at our meeting a month ago. We want to thank Concord Town Meeting voters and the Community Preservation Committee and others for the approval of $740,000 in CPA funding for the trust. That brings our starting balance for fiscal 2026 to $2.8 million. It's our goal to use those limited funds to leverage outside investment. We're working with the Massachusetts Housing Partnership to see what we need to do to be able to work on a development project that is of sufficient size and characteristics, probably rentals, probably for 20 or more units that would attract significant state funding. Last time we did that was for the Junction Village project, which did not come to fruition, but there is a formula that we can follow to bring in more outside funding. We're looking forward to participating in the land use working group process. I'm serving on that group, and we hope to find some inspiration of where our funds can be used to develop housing. So finally, the next quarterly meeting of the Concord Housing Roundtable will be held the last week of August, and we'll be in touch with roundtable boards to schedule that date. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Keith. Lynn.
Thanks, Mark. Greetings, everyone. I think this is the first time that I sit here as co-chair of the Residential Tax Exemption Task Force. The task force was created by the Select Board in the spring. We are a 7-person body charged to evaluate both qualitatively and quantitatively the effects thus far of the Select Board's adoption of the residential tax exemption. I don't know how many of you have applied or are familiar with, but this is a property tax relief program that was actually authorized by the state legislature back in 1979. Concord has only adopted it for the last 2 years. And essentially what it does is it shifts a certain percentage of the average assessed residential value across properties. It deducts that from property values. And what that does is it shifts the burden of property taxes somewhat from lower valued residences to higher valued residences. About 19 towns and cities in Massachusetts have already adopted this. And another part of our charge is to talk to some of those communities that have experience with the RTE and other communities that either looked at it and decided not to pursue it, or in one case had it for a number of years and then phased out because they didn't think it was serving their equity goals. The purpose of the Select Board in adopting it was to promote economic diversity and enable seniors to be able to age in place in Concord. And so we're doing a number of things across the membership of the task force. We're working with the assessor and the town to collect data. We are talking to a range of individuals right now for qualitative insights, and inspired by the town meeting survey group last year, and then also a survey that was done in Lexington a number of years ago. We are currently considering developing a survey to assess people's experiences with housing affordability that would launch sometime this spring. We just have a 1-year charge. We'll be checking in with the Select Board this fall and then have a report for the town as of the spring next year.
Thank you, Lynn, and welcome. Tracy Morano.
Good morning. Tracy Morano. I'm chair of the Regional School Committee, and this is, I think, my third time as chair. Just a little bit about the school committee. We have 5 Concord members, and then for the Regional School Committee, we have 7 members, 2 members that are appointed from Carlisle. So this year we welcome Michael Williams and Sandeep Pishardi to the Concord and the Regional School Committee, and Lynette Kelleher was just appointed to the Regional School Committee. Just in terms of the schools, we negotiated with the CCHS tutors and transportation this past spring. The school committee negotiates with 8 unions in the district, in both districts. We are moving our meetings to Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. So that's like a big change for the school committee. We've had Tuesday meetings, but we are now moving to Wednesdays just with vacations and everything else. It seems more appropriate to have a Wednesday meeting. Our next meeting is August 20th. I want to thank the Concord Carlisle Foundation for a donation of $55,000 worth of funding that we did not have budgeted for grief counseling this spring. As all of you know, 3 of our seniors tragically died in a car accident. And so we had extensive grief counseling all through the spring that is potentially continuing the summer, and we may still have needs in the fall. We had let's see, just go down my list. Andrew Herchek is the chair of the Concord School Committee, so he'll be joining us on some of these chairs' breakfasts. Carrie Rankin is the vice chair of Concord, and then Brian Watterson from Carlisle is the vice chair of the region. I want to thank the town for passing the amenities building at town meeting. It passed by 2/3 vote, but now what needs to happen is it needs to go to a ballot vote, which will be on August 19th, Tuesday, August 19th. So that needs to pass by a majority vote. We're really excited about that because really the intention is just for ADA accessible permanent toilets, which is what the plumbing code requires. Yesterday, that was actually supported by the DEI Commission. They took a vote and they have a statement supporting the amenities building. So thank you to the DEI Commission for that. The Doug White Fields are underway, and even though that's not a regional project, it is on our campus. It's a town project, so thank you for the town. It appears as though they should be ready for the start of school, which is great. And then lastly, just on the CPS side, we had the ribbon cutting for the Allen Garrison building at the Concord Middle School. That happened in early June. It was supposed to happen in May, but again, with the accident, it was postponed. So we had a really successful evening of student performances, student talks, and tours. So thank you to the town of Concord for a beautiful building that is air conditioned. So thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. There's a lot going on in the schools. Bob White.
Sorry. The Trails Committee is happy to report that after a long time of having a vacancy on the committee for Jay Keyes, that has been resolved, and we have a replacement for him, which staffs up our committee. Operationally, we have just installed a 3rd kiosk. We've been replacing old kiosks that have been, some of them 40, 50 years old and are in bad shape. The last one we put in 2 weeks ago at the White Pond Berwick Street entrance. These are a post and beam design, which are sturdy and have a commercial enclosed corkboard to prevent posted material from being exposed to the weather. Our stewards at Anersenack have found a reroute for the Bay Circuit Trail that enters from Acton in through Anersenack and passes on out Strawberry Hill Road. And they have found a way to put that back in the woods with permission from the Anersenack community, part of which is private property. That will be reblazed and put into use. The effect that has is that for the Bay Circuit Trail, which is a more than 200-mile trail from Plum Island to Fairhaven Bay, it will reduce the total distance for that by 1/4 mile, but it will take the trail in Concord off roads for a whole half mile. And that's a big improvement. It was on College Road, which can be winding and dangerous for people to walk. We'll probably maintain the old route for the bicycle route for Bay Circuit Trail. Our 20 stewards keep our trails open as usual. at this time of year, trails become overgrown and they cut that back, and they maintain the problems we have, light work and heavy work assisting as needed. And finally, we continue the monthly Council on Aging social walks through Concord Preservation Properties. And we have pretty good turnout every month with folks who like to just gather and follow me through the woods for places that they've probably never seen before and enjoy the walks. Thank you, Mark.
Great, thanks, Bob. And we're ready for Vince Carlson for the PEG Access.
Yes, I am Vince Carlson, Chair of the PEG Access Advisory Committee. And we have two major responsibilities. One is to oversee the Comcast activities and also new contracts, and also oversee and Media Network, who, as you know, is the audio visual coverage unit in Concord and also in Carlisle for that matter, because they cover many of the events in Carlisle, and Carlisle does not have its own separate audiovisual organization. So this has been quite an event-filled year for PAC. We are now just ending the negotiation process for the new Comcast 10-year contract. The last one was 2014. This one will be active from 2024 for the next 10 years. And people are asking, you know, how is it possible for Comcast to have a 10-year contract in this era of change? And nobody knows exactly, but Concord has got 3 million subscribers, and they negotiate with very, very many towns. So possibly the answer is that, you know, they do not want to double their, you know, number of contracts that they have to deal with. People like AT&T have gone to 5-year contracts, for instance. In any case, the contract negotiation has gone very well. Mostly everything that you know, the negotiating team has asked for has been either acknowledged and absorbed into the new contract, or at least there's been you know, a notice of intention to see where things were difficult to do, that they're at least you know, on a can-do list for Comcast if they do it elsewhere in the country. One thing that people wonder about in this era of cord cutting is revenue going down for that, because any revenue that goes down for Concord means less funding for the Minuteman Media Network. However, Comcast has been remarkably agile in being able to you know, keep the revenue stream somewhat level, you know, even in the context of a declining cable TV subscribers. And it's not likely to fall off of a cliff suddenly, but there will be a gradual decline, you know, over the term of the 10-year contract. So as just a heads up for the select board, which they're very well aware of in any case, is that at next Monday's select board meeting, Jason Bulger will be making a presentation on the final contract and more detailed a review of the items that I just mentioned. And there do not, as I said, appear to be any outstanding issues. So, you know, at that meeting, it should be able to be possible to, you know, discuss at what point the contract can be signed. The authority for doing that is a select board. At the last negotiation and signing in 2014, all members of the select board signed the contract.
Mm-hmm.
On the MMN front, it's also been a very, very busy year for MMN, as you know. They did, you know, basically first shot to last drone show coverage of the 250th, which was a great, great coverage, by the way, and I think everybody is kind of aware and watched at least portions of the proceedings. One thing that people may not know is that MMN provided the feed for all of the major TV channels in Boston. So, and that's a convention actually for large events that the channels typically do. So everything that you may have seen even on broadcast TV from CBS, ABC, NBC, or Fox was part of the feed that Minuteman Media Network in Concord provided to them. Again, you know, please pass on your recommendations if you see any of the staff there, including the manager, Joey Benugian. And they, as a group, will probably be up for what's called local Emmys. So the Emmys are, you know, the national awards for activities on TV. There's also local Emmys by region in the country. There's a local Emmy specifically for the Boston area. And we certainly hope, and the nominations will be in, to have MMN up there and nominated and awarded, hopefully, a local Emmy for their coverage. So that's kind of the highlights. And, you know, we have a signing to look forward to. As regard to the committee itself, the committee called previously the Cable TV Signing Committee has disbanded after the activities of signing a new contract.
Thank you, Vince. I'm going to go to the light board now.
Okay.
Warren?
Thank you. I'm Warren Leon, Chair of the Concord Municipal Light Board. For those who've heard me speak at other meetings this year, I'm going to sound like a broken record. And the reason for that is that this year, the Concord Municipal Light Board is focusing on the transition to time of use rates, and we're doing that through the whole year. There are lots of steps in the process. The reason we want to move towards time of use rates is that it costs the light plant more money to buy electricity at some times a day than other times a day. And customers need to be given price signals so that they will use their electricity at times when rates are low and use less at times when rates are high. The latest steps we've been engaged with is the light plant engaged consultants to do a cost of service study. This is something done every few years to really find out exactly how much it's costing us to serve our customers and different classes of customers at different times. And with that information, the next step we're doing is to specify which will be the times for peak rates and which will be the times for off-peak rates. And that will be decided over the summer. One other thing that will be happening is that the light plant staff are looking at different options for purchasing or contracting for battery storage to help offset some of the solar generation in town, to even out the use over the course of the day. And we're going to be looking at which models and which types of battery storage contracts it might make sense for Concord Municipal Light Plant to enter into. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Warren. Christina?
Hi, I'm Christina Kendrick, and I've been reelected as the chair for the Council on Aging. At our last meeting, we had MCI, we had John Boynton come in from MCI and give a great talk for us. A good thing to catch the board up to speed of the workshops that they've done. and then get people to obviously fill out their surveys. So we'll be following up with more information for that. I told the board that per the last chairs meeting that we should hold off on our goals till say July for this year until we hear what the select board has to say about their goals. And we were told, remember, from Mary to try to align our goals with the select board's goals for the next year. And we had an application of a woman that came as a guest who is going to put in an application for a seat on the board. And then lastly, at our last meeting, I met the co-chair of the DEI, and I was going to invite her to attend our July or August meeting. And that's about all I have.
Thanks. And I know that the select board goals are in progress. We were going to look at a draft of our 26 goals on Monday, and those should be included in the packet that will get distributed this week. And there'll be some discussion about that. I am personally thankful for those folks who've been coming forward with what some of their major topics are. We're also going to briefly review the FY25 goals. With that, speaking of people who've informed us what their goals are, Michael from the EVC.
Thanks, Mark. Hello, good morning. I'm Mike Lawson, Chair of the Economic Vitality Committee. And Mark has just indicated we are in the process of doing two things, electing new officers and setting our goals for the coming year. We'd sent a memo to the select board sort of outlining the process we're going to use and letting them know what we thought some of the urgent goals were that the select board could deal with. So we're also in the process of trying to gain some new members. We have 3 vacancies, and we're actively seeking members. And we'll be meeting in a couple of weeks to begin our goal setting process. So that's all I have, Mark. Thanks.
Thanks, Michael. And Holly Legault for the ceremonies and celebrations.
Hi, Holly Legault. I'm the chair of the Public Ceremonies and Celebrations Committee. And we've had a really great year with Veterans Day. We had our honored citizen, Sandy Smith, who will continue through November of this year. Dawn Salute and Patriots Day as part of the 250 celebrations, and then our final celebration on Memorial Day. So to keep up these amazing celebrations, we are also looking for new members. We are down to 4 with a membership of 7. So we are looking for 3 new members to join the committee. And we've also, we worked with the select board to reduce our membership term to from 5 years to 3 years. So hopefully that will entice some people to join. And our next meeting is tonight. So and then we take the summer off as well till the fall.
Thanks, Holly. So this is a good place to advertise for members for sure. Brad Dye, Climate Action.
My name is Brad Dye. I'm the new chair of the Climate Action Committee. We found another Brad in town to take on climate. It's me. The Climate Action Committee is really grateful to town decision makers and the voters to providing $75,000 for us to do a version 2 of our climate action and resilience plan. Our current incumbent 5-year plan is just about up. We're in the process of reviewing how we've done on that. And over the next year, we'll be working to create a second one. And we're getting started with that immediately. We'll have a meeting this week to start in on our RFP to spend the $75,000 that we've been given. Today at 1 o'clock in the State House and virtually is a public hearing on the governor's energy affordability bill. Couldn't come at a better time because we think that probably just before 8 p.m. last night was peak energy demand for the year. At about 8 o'clock, it was costing someone, somewhere, $1 per kilowatt to supply energy. So to put that into perspective, to gas up an EV would probably have run an average consumer $75 to $100 at 8 p.m. last night. It's unsustainable. There are a number of good things in the governor's bill, and we really want to flag that for townhouse staff and the select board, as well as the finance committee. You're all stakeholders in climate action and energy cost. If you haven't put your eyes on that bill, now's the time. Written testimony can go in up to July 2nd. We're also very grateful for a wonderful thing that was done in the superintendent's office while we were getting ready for town meeting. We turned around a grant proposal to the Mass Clean Energy Center for the Vehicles to Everything program that CEC does for and found an old pot of money, $200,000 that has been sitting around for charging stations. We're going to build some charging equipment for the schools and get a whole nice big pot of money from the state due to some great fast work by the superintendent's office. So it was a really wonderful thing. We're very grateful for that collaboration. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. I see Nancy Brown for the DEI Commission.
Can you try bottom left, very, very bottom left corner?
Okay, did it. I'm Nancy Brown, and I am co-chair of the DEI Commission. And unfortunately, my co-chair Rose could not be here because I missed most of the meeting yesterday, so I will have a little difficulty filling you in on everything that's going on. It is clearly a time where DEI is under attack, and we can't assume that Concord is immune from that. So it's I think the time to be very vigilant, and all of us to hang together in protecting what we care about. I'd also like to recommend that folks attend the movie screening of Jen Silent tomorrow night, or yes, Thursday night at Harvey Wheeler. Jen Silent talks about the unique needs and challenges facing LGBTQIA seniors. And I think seniors are often forgotten. Being a senior myself, I don't think we should be. So I urge you to attend that. It is at 5 p.m. at Harvey Wheeler.
Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. Isabel Bailey for pollinators. Thank you.
Hi, I was posting this so that everybody can, I'm getting a feedback, so I don't know what the problem is, but might be my computer. Can the people hear me correctly?
You're coming.
Okay, I'll just keep talking through my feedback. Okay, last week was Pollinator Week. We worked with the library and public health with the presentation of the Silent Spring about the new DDT of the pesticides. We're working with the Ag Committee for expanding their works. And we do want to make a statement that we're very concerned that there's a significant cutback proposed in our National Resource Department, and it is not comparable to even Lincoln or Lexington, any community that has as much conservation land as us. The fact that we would not even have an assistant director is appalling. And we won't have a ranger who enforces the safety of our conservation lands. And I want people to be very much aware that this cutback is anti to what Concord should stand for. So I'll get off my board. The other is we're developing this GIS, a pollinator network. bees and insects can only travel so far for nectar and pollen. And this, people can register and get on the map for a GIS pollinator network. I'll keep this posted. I do have to leave at 9:30, which is
Okay.
in 10 minutes. So thank you very much. And anybody who wants to join us, we're very excited to include people, whether it's official in the committee or just ad hoc.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. I noticed that you're actually listed twice in the attendance, so maybe the
Can you
feedback.
cut me out on one of those? Because I
Yeah.
can't do it on my machine.
Maybe that would be a good thing. So, and probably if you mute, it'll stop the feedback at any rate.
Well, I'm getting feedback with you guys too.
Yeah, that's probably because there's two of you on.
Okay. I had trouble signing in.
Okay. Bill Marachek for the Personnel Board. Are you there, Bill? Okay. You managed to mute. Now you're unmuted. We're not hearing you. So let's see. I think we have Andrea Carlin and Sarah Grimwood left, who are committee chairs. So would one of you like to go? Carlin?
Mark, I'm just following up for Lois, so I'm FinCom, so I'm not giving a report. Thanks anyway.
Andrea, are you ready?
Yes.
Great.
Yes. So I'm chair of Public Works now, and we haven't met actually since before town meeting, but we are meeting today. At 4 o'clock, we will have a water sewer rate hearing, which will begin around 4:10, 4:15 today, if you're interested. And we'll be off for the summer and we'll meet again September 10th. Meanwhile, we are very grateful to town meeting for voting for Article 8, which is our big roads improvement program, but that does have to pass a town election, which, as Tracy mentioned, will be held on August 19th. And I think vote by mail ballots will go out on July 28th, and voting in person starts around that time too at the townhouse. So we're hoping that if you care about those articles enough to pass it at town meeting, you'll come out to vote for them also. And we haven't had much going on since town meeting. We'll discuss a lot more tonight and hopefully get to hit the ground running in September if our program gets approved by the voters. And Sven Weber, who was our fearless chair, is still going to be on our committee, but he is also going to be a representative on the land use working group. So I think that will have some interesting developments for Public Works also.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Thank you. And Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Grimwood. This is my 6th year on the Natural Resources Commission and my second, I guess, and last year as chair. The NRC continues to meet every 3 weeks. We always have a lot of applications coming in and a lot to discuss. I also wanted to use this forum to raise the concerns mentioned by Isabel earlier, and just to share with everybody, in case they're not aware, Bert Cummins, who was Assistant Director for the Division of Natural Resources, recently took a position with the state because he had a very long commute and a long family. Unfortunately, this position has been placed on hold until July 31st, when it will be reevaluated. So my understanding is the decision hasn't been made yet, but I really want everybody to be aware that of the risk of losing this position, which was not one of the positions discussed and agreed on at town meeting. This position has been in place for over 2 decades, since 2002, and 50 to 70% of both the director and the assistant director's time is dedicated to Wetlands Protection Act and the Concord bylaw implementation. So losing this position would not allow us to keep up with what we need to do just to stay within the law. We currently have 1,700 issued permits, which is much higher than all the surrounding towns, and towns that value conservation, staff it appropriately. And this would definitely require us to have this position reinstated. Also, the Division of Natural Resources is responsible of stewardship for more than 1,500 acres of town conservation land and over 35 miles of trails throughout Concord. So I hope, as a town that I believe really believes in conservation, we will continue to fund this position. And I just hate to think what would happen if we didn't, because I think Delia, the Director of Natural Resources, will spend all her time fielding complaints if things weren't kept up with. So I'll leave it there, but thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. And Julie, I see you have your hand up.
I just want to echo the concerns that Sarah and Isabel brought up, and to say, Isabel, thank you so much for sharing the QR code. I attempted to scan it and I wasn't able to receive it, and I tried to text in the chat, but the chat is disabled. I would love to receive that QR code and participate in the Pollinator GIS network. I think it's a fantastic idea. And I also am a strong supporter of wetlands protections and believe the town should prioritize this in the professional staff priorities, as Sarah and Isabel have communicated. So thank you so much.
Also, I just mentioned from the Warner's Pond Task Force has wrapped up its work and is, I believe, going to present to the NRC, has already transmitted that final report to the NRC, but I think that's going to get discussed at an upcoming NRC meeting, if I'm correct, Sarah.
Yes, July 16th.
Thank you. And recommending an adaptive management plan for Warner's Pond, which would be an opportunity to try to work more with more focus and effort on trying to see whether it's possible to manage the pond. And I see that Paul has his hand up.
Yeah, hi. I thought I had nothing to say, but then I remembered in my legacy position as 2229 Main Street, just want to update you. So we are beginning discussions, the town, beginning discussions with EPA on the potential acquisition of the site. We have our first meeting with EPA next Monday. So it's beginning of a long process. Just want to let you know the steps that the task force recommended the select board take, they're being implemented starting next week.
Okay. Great. And I see Isabel is raising the email if you're interested in the Concord Pollinator for Pathways at gmail.com. There's a way to find out more about that. Okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions before we close? I always marvel at how we managed to get this done in an hour. All right. Well, thank you so much. Stay cool. And we'll see you on July 16th. And do pay attention to the upcoming town election on August 19th. That's really important for both the roads program and for the amenities building. Those are the two articles that we're expected to pass.